Welcome to today's episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, presented by Elite Credit Solutions. We are your trusted partner in affordable credit repair, proudly based in Tampa, Florida, and dedicated to serving clients across the entire United States. Join us as we explore the intricacies of credit management, share expert insights, and empower you with the knowledge you need to achieve your financial goals. Get ready for an enlightening journey into the world of credit. Let's dive in.
Everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're diving into something that might seem a little, mundane at first. I mean, we're talking about gas stations. But trust me,
Right.
there's a whole lot more to it than meets the eye. We're going to be looking at gas station scams.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it gets pretty wild.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got some research articles, some news stories ready to unpack. So buckle up, because we're about to expose the tricks of the trade that could save you a lot of trouble and money.
It's amazing, how these scams manage to thrive in a place that feels so familiar to all of us.
Right.
I mean, think about it. We're in and out of gas stations all the time, multiple times a week, sometimes even multiple times a day.
It's true.
And that makes it really easy to just slip into that routine. You become predictable. And unfortunately, that's exactly what these scammers are counting on.
Yeah, that's what I find so unsettling about this whole topic. It's not just about being cautious in some shady back alley or something.
Right.
It's about being aware of potential threats in places we consider routine. Places we think of as safe, like our local gas station. It really makes you realize how important it is to stay informed and be aware of the tactics that scammers are using.
You got to be aware. And honestly, the sheer variety of these scams is astounding.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. They range from really low-tech tricks to some pretty sophisticated schemes, involving hidden electronics.
Wow.
Some target our wallets directly, right?
Well.
While others are aiming to steal our personal information, which, can lead to a lot more damage down the road.
It's like there's a whole underground economy operating right under our noses.
Oh, yeah.
So where do we even begin with unpacking all of this? What are some of the most common, or maybe even some of the most surprising scams we should all be aware of?
Well, I think a good place to start would be with one that's been making a lot of headlines lately, and that's skimming. Basically, it's where thieves install these hidden devices on card readers to steal your credit card information. And you know what? The technology they're using is becoming increasingly sophisticated.
I've heard about skimming before,
Yeah?
but I always thought it was pretty easy to spot. Like those bulky add-on devices that just look out of place?
Right. Well, that used to be the case, absolutely. But scammers, they've upped their game big time.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Now they're using these tiny skimmers that fit inside the card reader slot, completely inside.
Oh, wow.
Making them virtually invisible to the naked eye.
So how are we supposed to protect ourselves if we can't even see the skimmer?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It becomes less about, visually spotting the skimmer itself.
Yeah, okay.
And more about just being aware of any signs that something has been tampered with.
Okay.
So before you even swipe your card,
Yeah.
Take a moment to actually examine that card reader. Look for any scratches, any gaps, loose parts, misaligned components, anything that seems a little bit off.
So it's like we've got to be detectives at the pump, looking for any little clue that something's not quite right.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
A lot of gas stations now, they use those security tape or stickers, right?
Right.
To seal that card reader area.
Right.
So if that seal is broken or missing, that is a major red flag.
Okay, so tamper-proof seals.
Exactly.
Got it. What about contactless payments, though? I thought those were supposed to be, way more secure.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Right.
But unfortunately, scammers are crafty. They always seem to find a way,
Oh, no.
they've actually figured out how to exploit even contactless systems.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There have been reports of thieves drilling a tiny hole, like a pinhole, into that contactless screen.
What?
Which then forces the system to default back to swipe payment.
Oh, wow. Drilling holes. That's a whole other level of commitment, I guess you could say,
It is.
to their craft.
It is.
It's impressive in a disturbing way.
Absolutely.
So, okay, contactless isn't necessarily foolproof either.
Not necessarily, no. It really highlights how important it is to stay informed about their latest tactics.
Yeah.
Because they are constantly evolving.
Okay, so we've got to be on our toes. Now, let's move on to a scam that's a bit more low-tech, but equally effective.
Okay.
I've heard whispers about this one.
Uh-huh.
It's called pump switching.
Oh, yeah.
Something about someone pumping your gas for you, and then what? What's the catch?
So imagine this, right?
Okay.
You pull up to the pump, and someone, they seem friendly enough, they offer to help you fill up.
Okay.
Seems nice, right?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, sure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the trick.
Okay.
While you're distracted, maybe you're looking at your phone, whatever it might be, they subtly swap the hoses.
What?
They connect yours to the other side of the pump.
No way.
Yeah, so you end up paying for their gas while your tank's just sitting there empty.
That is so sneaky. I can totally see how people would fall for that.
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time.
Especially if you're, like, in a hurry, you know, or preoccupied.
Absolutely. You're not paying close attention.
You'd never suspect someone of being that devious. Like, who would even think to do that?
Right. But it preys on our trust,
Yeah.
and maybe that desire to be helpful. And then by the time you realize what's happened,
Yeah.
they're gone. They've driven off with a free tank of gas, and you're left feeling cheated and foolish.
So how do we avoid becoming a victim of this trick? Should we just, like, refuse all offers of help at the pump?
I don't think it's about being rude or anything like that.
Okay.
It's more about just being aware and being in control.
Okay.
So always handle the hose yourself.
Okay.
And double check the connection yourself before you start pumping.
Mm-hmm.
It only takes a second, right, to trace that hose from your card to the pump
Okay.
and make sure it's connected to your side.
Yeah. Sometimes being a little cautious can save you a lot of trouble in the long run.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So we've covered skimming
Mm-hmm.
and pump switching. Those are two scams that target our wallets directly.
Right.
But there's another category of gas station scams
Yeah.
that might be even more unsettling.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
And that is scams perpetrated by dishonest employees.
Exactly.
Wait, you mean the people working at the gas station could be in on the scam?
It happens more often than you think.
Really? Isn't that, like, a huge risk for them?
You would think so, right?
No.
But we're talking about things like pumps being rigged to shortchange customers.
What?
Or, they might have fake readings on the meter.
Okay.
Or even charge cash payers the credit price without them realizing.
Wow. That's a real breach of trust.
It is.
Lurking around.
Yeah.
But to think that the people running the place could be involved it's unsettling.
And it's not just speculation or isolated incidents.
Oh, no.
There have been documented cases
Okay.
where investigators have actually caught this type of scam happening repeatedly.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes even with evidence caught on camera.
That's scary.
Mm.
So it's not enough to just be aware of, like, shady characters lurking around the pumps.
Right.
We also need to be vigilant about the actual gas station itself.
Yeah. You need to be observant about the actions of the employees and the equipment that they're using.
Okay, so how do we protect ourselves from dishonest employees? What are some red flags to watch out for?
One of the simplest but most effective things you can do is just watch the pump closely.
Okay.
Make sure the meter starts at 0 before you begin fueling.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to how those numbers are increasing.
Okay.
If anything seems off, like if the numbers are jumping around erratically or increasing too quickly, stop fueling immediately and alert the attendant.
Okay. Watch the pump like a hawk.
Exactly.
What else? What else should we be doing?
Always get a receipt.
Okay.
And take a moment to actually check it. Make sure the amount charged matches what you pumped.
Okay.
And that the price per gallon is correct.
Right.
Don't just toss that receipt without looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's your proof of purchase, and it could be your best line of defense if there are any discrepancies.
Okay, receipt checking officially added to my gas station routine.
Good.
But what if we suspect that something fishy is going on, but we're not 100% sure? Should we confront the employee directly?
Confrontation can be tricky.
Okay.
If you have legitimate concerns,
Yeah.
it's always best to start by calmly and politely expressing your doubts to the attendant.
Okay.
Just say, hey, I'm not sure this is right.
Yeah, don't jump to accusations.
Right.
But don't be afraid to voice your concerns.
Exactly. And if you're still not satisfied with their response,
Yeah.
you can always escalate the issue,
Yeah.
maybe to the gas station manager,
Mm.
or even contact your state's Department of Weights and Measures, which are responsible for ensuring the accuracy of those gas pumps.
It's good to know that there are channels for reporting these issues if we encounter them.
Absolutely.
It's reassuring, that there are resources out there.
Absolutely.
Now, shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
let's talk about a type of gas station scam that plays on our empathy
Okay.
and good nature.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered someone at the pump with like a sob story, asking for money for gas or food.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
It's so hard to say no.
It is.
When someone seems to be in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered, like, are those stories legitimate? It just feels wrong to be suspicious of someone who's asking for help.
It's a tricky situation, isn't it?
It is.
And it's natural to want to help.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that scammers often exploit our compassion to make a quick buck. Those sob stories,
Yeah.
they're often fabricated, just designed to tug at your heartstrings and make you more likely to hand over some cash.
So how do we know who genuinely needs help and who's trying to scam us? It feels wrong to just turn everyone away.
It is a tough call.
Yeah.
But one approach is to offer help directly rather than giving cash.
Got it.
So, for example, if someone claims they need gas, offer to pay for a specific amount at the pump for them.
Okay.
Or if they're hungry,
Yeah.
offer to buy them a meal from the convenience store.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it ensures that your generosity is actually going towards their stated need.
Right.
Not just, into their pocket for who knows what.
And if they refuse your offer of direct help, that's a red flag.
That's usually a sign that something might be amiss.
Okay, good to know. I'll definitely keep that in mind the next time I encounter someone asking for help at the pump. It's a way to be compassionate without becoming an easy target.
Exactly.
Now, let's touch on a scam that's often overlooked.
Okay.
But can happen in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Purse snatching.
Oh, yeah.
Purse snatching. At a gas station. Really?
It might seem obvious,
Okay.
but you'd be surprised how often it happens. While you're focused on pumping gas or paying inside,
Yeah.
thieves can take advantage of your distraction to grab valuables that are left visible in your car.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to forget about basic safety precautions when you're making a quick stop.
It is. And these thieves are looking for easy targets, unlocked cars, purses on seats, phones in plain view.
Right.
It's all about opportunity.
So what's the best way to prevent this? Should we just take all of our valuables with us every time we get out of the car?
That's one option.
Okay.
But I realize it's not always practical.
Yeah.
The key is to just be mindful and minimize those opportunities for theft.
Okay.
Always lock your car, even if you're just running inside for a minute.
Okay.
And never leave your purse or wallet sitting on the seat.
Got it.
If you have to leave anything in the car,
Yeah.
lock it in the trunk or the glove compartment.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Or in this case, out of sight.
Yeah.
Out of reach of sticky-fingered thieves.
That's it.
It's amazing how quickly we can let our guard down.
I know.
In those familiar settings,
It really is.
We just get comfortable and
You do.
And we think we're safe and
It's a testament to how powerful routine can be, right?
Right.
It can lull us into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
And it makes us vulnerable to those who are actively looking for ways to exploit that complacency.
So what you're saying is we need to be more mindful, more observant, and more proactive in protecting ourselves, even in places we think we know well.
Absolutely. And we'll delve even deeper into that mindset shift in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, great.
So stay tuned.
I'm ready for it. Welcome back. We're picking up our conversation about gas station scams. And honestly, it's already way more complex than I thought.
It really is fascinating the lengths that people go to to exploit these everyday transactions that we all do.
Yeah, in the last part, we talked about some of those common tactics. But I'm curious, are there any variations on those scams that we should be aware of?
Absolutely. I mean, remember skimming.
Yeah.
One of the most, if not the most prevalent scam out there. And scammers are constantly updating their techniques to make those skimmers even harder to spot.
Right. We talked about the ones that fit inside the card reader,
Yeah.
making them almost invisible. But are there other things we should be looking out for?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, those internal skimmers are really tricky, but there's another type to watch out for. And that's skimmers that are disguised as keypad overlays.
Keypad overlays.
Yeah, so they fit over the existing keypad.
Okay.
And they capture your PI as you type it in.
Oh, wow. So even if the card reader itself looks safe, we still need to be wary of the keypad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pay close attention to how that keypad feels.
Okay.
Does it seem unusually thick or bulky?
Okay.
Does it stick or resist when you press the buttons?
Okay.
Those could be signs of an overlay.
Got it. It's like we need to engage all of our senses at the pump now.
That's right.
Sight, touch, maybe even smell if something seems off.
Exactly. And honestly, never underestimate your intuition.
Yeah.
If something just feels wrong,
Yeah.
trust your gut.
Okay.
choose a different pump, or just go inside to pay.
Okay, better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Speaking of trusting your gut, let's go back to pump switching for a second.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty bold to just assume you can swap hoses without someone noticing.
It is.
Are there variations on that scam that make it even more deceptive?
You would be surprised
Really?
how convincing these scammers can be.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll try to distract you with conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe ask for directions.
Oh, wow.
Or pretend to need help with their own car
While they're swapping the hoses.
while they're subtly swapping the hoses.
So it's not just about speed. They use, like, diversion tactics.
They do. They really do.
That's a whole other level of audacity.
It is. They play on your willingness to be helpful.
Right.
Which catches you off guard.
Okay.
Another variation involves actually tampering with the pump itself.
Oh, okay.
They might disconnect the hose so that no gas flows into your tank.
Oh, wow.
Or even rig the meter to run faster.
Oh, no.
So it makes you think you're getting more gas than you are?
It seems like even if we're careful about the hose connection, there are still ways they can manipulate the situation.
There are, yeah.
So paying attention to that meter reading is crucial.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Always keep an eye on that meter.
Okay.
Make sure those numbers are increasing steadily as you fill up.
Got it.
If you notice any jumps, like the numbers jumping around or the meter running when the pump isn't engaged, something's definitely wrong.
Okay, watch the hose, watch the meter. Vigilance is key.
Vigilance is key, that's right.
Okay, now what about those dishonest employee scams?
Right.
I mean, we talked about how unsettling it is
to
think that the people running the gas station could be involved.
I know.
Are there specific variations of that one that stand out?
Well, one pretty common tactic is for them to, like, subtly hit the credit button on the pump after you've told them you're paying with cash.
What?
And then they just pocket the difference
Oh, wow.
between the cash price and the higher credit price.
That's sneaky.
It is sneaky.
So how can we make sure we're not being overcharged like that?
Be very clear about your payment method.
Okay.
And make sure the attendant acknowledges it.
Okay.
Watch the register as they ring up your purchase. And verify that the price aligns with the posted cash price.
Got it.
If you're paying with cash, try to use exact change.
Okay, so being precise and paying attention to those details is really important.
Absolutely.
What other tricks do dishonest employees use?
They might rig the pump to shortchange customers.
Okay.
By tampering with the meter so it delivers less gas than it should.
Okay.
Or adjusting the calibration so you're paying for more than you're getting.
It sounds like we need to be really familiar with our own cars.
Yes.
And how much gas they typically take. If those numbers suddenly seem off, that could be a red flag.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Your car and your experience, that's your best defense.
Okay.
You know, pay attention to those subtle cues.
Right.
And just trust your instincts if something feels wrong.
Right.
Don't just blindly accept whatever the pump or the attendant tells you.
It's easy to do that.
It is. It is.
We put so much trust in those numbers and those readings.
We do, but they can be manipulated.
Okay. Let's circle back to purse snatching for a second.
Okay.
What can we do to make ourselves less of a target for those thieves?
So while that classic, like, grab and run approach is common, the timing can vary.
Okay.
Some might target you while you're at the pump.
Okay.
Others wait till you're inside paying.
Oh, wow. So vigilance isn't just for when we're outside at the pump?
Oh, no.
It extends to the entire gas station experience.
That's right. Always lock your car. Even for those quick trips inside.
Okay.
And never leave your purse or wallet visible on the seat. You know, it only takes seconds for a thief to smash a window and grab your stuff.
It's a good reminder that those basic safety measures that we often overlook can make a big difference.
A big difference.
Okay, one more scam I wanted to revisit is shortchanging, especially for those of us who might be traveling to places where attendants handle the pumping. Any tips for avoiding that tricky bill swap?
Yeah. The best defense there is to be extra clear and deliberate when handing over your cash.
Okay.
So state the amount out loud as you hand over the bill and make eye contact with the attendant.
Okay.
That just leaves less room for misinterpretation.
Got it.
Or sleight of hand.
It's about removing any ambiguity.
Exactly.
And making it difficult for them to pull a fast one.
That's right.
I like it.
It's about being assertive.
Yeah.
And confident in those interactions.
Absolutely. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
And it's clear that gas station scams
yeah,
are more prevalent and varied than many of us realize. But I don't want our listeners to walk away feeling paranoid or afraid to even pump gas.
Yeah, of course not.
What's the key takeaway here?
It's all about awareness and empowerment, really.
Right.
The more we understand about these scams, the less likely we are to become victims of them.
Right.
We can be alert, observant, and proactive without letting fear dictate our actions.
I love that. Knowledge really is power in this case.
It really is.
Now, in the final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
The broader implications of these gas station scams and what we can do, both individually and as a society, to combat them.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So stick with us. All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into this world of gas station scams.
Yeah.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here. Everything from skimming devices and pump switching to, those dishonest employees and the risk of purse snatching. It's
a lot to think about.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, and, I think while we've focused a lot on, the practical stuff, how to actually avoid these scams, I think it's also important to step back for a second and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree.
What are the broader implications of these crimes, and what can we do, not just as individuals, but as a society to address them?
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the nitty-gritty details of how these scams work.
Right.
And what we can do to avoid them. But I'm curious about those ripple effects.
Yeah.
How do these scams impact our communities and our sense of trust in general?
I think one of the most concerning aspects is that erosion of trust.
Yeah.
When we can't even fuel our cars without fearing that we're being scammed.
Right.
It really does chip away at our sense of security and our faith in the systems that we rely on.
It makes you feel a bit more vulnerable.
It does.
Almost like you're constantly on edge, looking over your shoulder.
Right.
I mean, and I imagine it goes beyond just our interactions at the gas station. It starts to seep into other areas of our lives.
Oh, absolutely. This erosion of trust, it can have these really far-reaching consequences. Oh, yeah. Affecting our relationships, our communities, even, our sense of civic engagement.
Wow.
It creates this climate of suspicion.
Yeah.
And it makes us less likely to trust others, even in situations where there's no real threat.
So it's almost like these scams are exploiting not just our wallets, but our social fabric.
I think that's a great way to put it.
They're chipping away at that sense of community and shared trust that makes a society function smoothly.
That's right. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about these issues, raise awareness, and work together to find solutions. We can't let these scams dictate how we interact with the world or prevent us, from extending kindness to those who actually need it. We need to find that balance. Between healthy skepticism and genuine human connection.
So how do we strike that balance? How do we protect ourselves without becoming completely distrustful of everyone and everything?
Well, I think on an individual level, it starts with, as we've been talking about, being informed and vigilant.
Right.
The more we understand how these scams work, the better equipped we are to spot them. And avoid becoming victims.
Right.
And we can share that knowledge, with our friends, family, communities, create a network of informed individuals.
Right, empowering each other.
Exactly.
Not just ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about on a broader societal level?
Yeah.
Are there things that we can do collectively to combat this problem?
Absolutely.
And restore that sense of trust?
I think we need stronger regulations.
Okay.
Stricter enforcement to deter these crimes and hold perpetrators accountable. This might involve things like, cracking down on the production and sale of skimming devices.
Right.
Increasing inspections of gas stations. Imposing harsher penalties for those who engage in these activities.
Yeah. If there's a higher risk of getting caught.
Right.
And facing some serious consequences.
Yeah.
It might make these scams less appealing.
Absolutely. And I think gas stations themselves can also play a more proactive role.
Oh, okay.
Invest in more secure payment systems. Like those EMV chip readers that are harder to skim.
Okay.
They can implement those tamper-proof seals on card readers and pumps. Make it more obvious if something's been tampered with. And I think training employees to be more vigilant about suspicious activity is crucial.
It's about creating that culture of security and accountability at every level.
Yes.
From the individual consumer to the gas station owner.
Absolutely. And we can't forget the role of technology in this fight. While technology often enables these scams, it can also be a powerful tool for combating them.
Okay.
We're already seeing advancements in fraud detection systems and the development of apps that can actually detect skimming devices.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a constant race.
It is.
To stay one step ahead.
It is.
As technology advances.
Yes.
So do the tactics used by scammers, and then we have to develop new technologies to counter those tactics.
It's like a digital arms race.
It is.
But I think it's one we can win if we stay informed.
Okay.
We collaborate. And we invest in the right tools and solutions.
So we've talked about individual responsibility, stronger regulations, proactive gas stations, technological advancements.
That's right.
It's a multi-pronged approach
to
tackling this issue.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, I just want to remind everyone that we're not powerless in the face of these scams. The more we know about them, the less likely we are to become victims.
Right.
And by working together, sharing information, and supporting each other, I really believe we can create a safer and more secure environment for everyone.
Yeah.
It's about reclaiming our sense of agency.
Okay.
And taking back control.
That's a powerful message.
I hope so.
It's not about living in fear or avoiding gas stations altogether.
Exactly.
It's about being empowered with knowledge and taking those proactive steps to protect ourselves and our communities.
Absolutely.
So the next time you pull up to the pump, remember everything we've discussed today.
Right.
Stay vigilant and stay safe.
That's it.
And hey, if you ever have any doubts or questions, trust your gut. And don't hesitate to seek help or report suspicious activity.
Right.
We're all in this together.
We are.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Stay curious.
Stay informed.
And keep those tanks full.
Wraps up another insightful episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, brought to you by Elite Credit Solutions, your go-to resource for affordable credit repair across the United States. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you found the information valuable and empowering. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, don't hesitate to reach out to us at 813-317-6776. Additionally, don't forget to like today's podcast, share with your friends on social media, follow us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in tune with future updates. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep striving for excellence in your credit journey.